Hi everyone, it's Ashley and I'm back for another fragrance review. This time I'm going to do kind of a sampling series. This time it's going to be L'Orchid Terrible, and this is just a sample that I got. It's from a niche perfumer called Imaginary Authors, and it was created by Josh Meyer in 2012. Imaginary Authors is kind of based around the concept of, books that were never written, authors that were never there, but they have, these really interesting stories behind each perfume. So if you had the chance to wear one of these perfumes, it's supposed to transport you to the feeling of what the story would be like. And for this one, the story is supposed to be about this young girl in the 1950s who traveled from England to Paris, and while she was there, she became a model and was swept away in this, life of haute couture and adventure. So it's supposed to give you kind of the feeling of adventure and youth and energy, and I think it definitely succeeds in this one. The notes of this one are orchid, honey, muguet, which is lily of the valley, aldehydes, white musk, and satin. And you may be wondering, satin, that's a note? Actually, that's the only perfume I've ever seen satin as a note. I believe it was used as kind of like a metaphor for some other notes that are hidden in there that kind of invoke the feeling of satin. So when you first spray it, and I've got it on this hand as well, initially it just smells sweet. I would say not candied sweetness, but just kind of like a warm honey type of sweetness, just like the note of honey. It feels, floral as far as the sweetness, but it also feels, not overly like sickeningly sweet. The next thing that I would say is aldehydes initially. Aldehydes are supposed to create a feeling of kind of like a soapy, lemony, fresh floral feeling. And in this one, it definitely gives you energy. It gives you kind of champagne fizziness, maybe less champagne and more along the line of like a 7-Up or some type of, bubbly carbonated beverage. So it's definitely very energetic, very fresh. And as it wears down, you start getting a little bit more of the green and the floral, the brightness that comes from the lily of the valley that's in it. There's also supposed to be the note of orchid, which is a synthetic note, but it's supposed to create kind of like a clean, sweet, and powdery feeling. And that's, when I smelled this after the aldehydes and, I got used to the aldehydes and the sweetness, that's the next thing I noticed was powdery. It felt almost like iris or something along that lines, kind of like a very, cold, metallic powderiness to it. So I guess that's what they were going for, with the orchid, and the combination of whatever that satin is supposed to be gives you that kind of cold crispness to it. So this is not a perfume that changes very much. It was very surprising to me because the quality of the fragrance is really great, but it doesn't actually evolve very much. The intensity of the aldehydes at first is very, very strong, but it basically blends into like a very good symphony of all the notes seeming to work together. It feels very energetic, it feels very fresh, it feels very youthful, very clean, soapy and clean, very classic. This is definitely something that, while it feels youthful, it feels like something that is timeless. It doesn't feel dated or like what you would assume, overly sweet, kind of thing that young girls might wear. This feels like, someone who could be young but also emerging into womanhood. And I don't think this really has a time frame for the type of, person who can wear it, but it does invoke that feeling, if that's something you're interested in. After a while, when it finally does start wearing down towards the end, and I've been wearing it, all day, and towards the end, the sweetness wears off, so you're left mostly with the musk and a little bit of floral at the end of it. It's still there, though. It's, for I would say the majority of the perfume, you're just smelling, the orchid and the aldehydes and the honey and, kind of the powderiness and all of that working together. So it's definitely, although it's, kind of a single type of smell throughout the whole thing, it does, have a great quality to it. It feels like an expensive perfume. It feels like it's high quality and that it's made well. It's definitely, this is something that I would recommend for, you know, spring and summer primarily. It feels kind of like a very fresh, energetic fragrance. So it's not something that I would really think of as like a fall or, you know, a winter type of fragrance. It feels like something you would wear when it's nice outside and, you know, you just wanted to go out and feel like you're living in a garden, that kind of thing. It's definitely a great one for that. The longevity is great, you know, 8 hours easily, probably a little bit more. I have oily skin, so it tends to wear off a little bit easier on me. So maybe other people with drier skin might get 10 hours out of it. I don't know, but for me it lasted quite a long time, and the sillage is actually really great on this one. If you like moderate to heavy, this would probably be a good one for you. This is one where you wear perfume and people around you can smell that you're wearing perfume. It does smell kind of like an expensive, clean, fresh soap. So there is that with it. If you really enjoy that kind of, you know, like powdery, you know, floral type of freshness, that would be a great one. For a 60 milliliter bottle, I believe it runs $85, and you can buy it off of their website, which is imaginaryauthors.com. It's really interesting too. Their website has a lot of information about the backstory behind each perfume. They also have, you know, kind of changed up the formula in the latest version. They offer another one where they have the satin note brought to the front, and then the lily of the valley note. And so it's kind of like a softer version of this if you're not really a fan of the intensity of the aldehydes in this one. So that's something to check out if you're not a huge fan of aldehydes. I know some people don't like them, they're a little hard to wear, but in this case I think it's interesting enough that it's, you know, worth a shot. From what I've read of other people's reviews, it's not well liked as much, which might be why they're releasing kind of a softer, toned down version. But if you like the expensive soap, you know, perfumery kind of feeling, then this would be a good one to try. So I hope you guys like this and learned something from it, and I should be back to you guys soon with some more you know, reviews of the Imaginary Authors line. I've been, you know, testing quite a few of them, and I'm actually really impressed with several of them. So look forward to that, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!